about 5 to 10 minutes to wrap up this conversation. I'm still being joined by Gabriela Ayamu, broadcast journalist, Nigeria Info FM, Daniel Braid, former broadcast journalist with Nigeria Info FM, now a media professional. We also are being joined by Femi D. Amele, broadcast journalist with Nigeria Info FM Abuja. We're talking about police brutality and, of course, the EndSARS protest that has been going on in Nigeria. Sorry, guys, we apologize. Daniel, we lost the connection while we were having this conversation. So let's just quickly wrap things up. So we were talking about your experience. So in wrapping up this conversation, I'm going to ask the same question to everyone. We know that, when people are commenting or giving let's say running commentaries, or we talk to government officials or even police officials, they say, oh, if you know your rights, a police officer cannot trample on those rights. If you know your rights, stand up to these policemen. Don't let them take you for take advantage of you. But even if you appear to know your rights, once you get to the station, the story always changes. There's a pile of charges against you, and sometimes you're looking around and saying, I'm sorry, what, where did this come from? So it's always you being the victim. At the end of the day, we always suffer. So Gabriela, I'll start with you. How do we deal with this situation going forward? It's okay to protest. It's okay for us to speak up, but in actuality, how do we make sure that this becomes a thing of the past and not just one of those things that we gloss over every other day?
It's not just it did not just begin with the police force, for instance. It cuts across our governance. It cuts across how we handle our policies. It cuts across literally every sector and every conversation we might literally have. So I think we need to get back to the fundamentals, and we can only do that if we begin to have conversations about change. Now, if we talk about the elections, for instance, we see the same thing playing out. People have grown to become comfortable with thinking about themselves first, their own selfish interests, until we begin to think about the greater good of other people, of Nigerians generally. We will never see this change. So yes, protests are good. Yes, the government is finally beginning to listen and hear what we've been saying all the years. But I do not think the protests would solve the problem. I think that a complete reformation of the police force, of our security architecture, of our justice system, of our governance in Nigeria would actually be the solution. So will that happen? I don't know. I don't know what the possibility might be of that happening even in our time. But we need to get back to the roots, the grassroots, the reason why we've been having these challenges over the years, and deal with it from the root. That's what I think. I think that if we can bring ourselves to begin to have those conversations, if we can have us, now it's a great thing that people are beginning to rise up. Young Nigerians are beginning to rise up to ask and demand for accountability and demand for better governance and leadership. I think we also need to begin to ask for the right things to be done, ask that the right procedures be followed, ask also for quality leadership. I think that it goes beyond just the protest. So if we can actually begin to come together with one unifying voice. I mean, for instance, look at what happened in Edo State, for instance, with the elections. That was a clear indication that if we can come together in one unifying voice to fight for a cause, we can achieve it. It's a great thing it started already. I hope that it continues until we actually begin to see the change we're looking for.
Same question. How do we put an end to this permanently and not just pay lip service to it and not just have those press releases that, the wind will blow over and then we go back to business as usual and then somebody else is killed or shot dead in the streets?
I think, first of all, both process within the police force, we need to know how much of the police itself is committed to self-purging and cleaning, house cleaning, if I may say. We have this system in Nigeria where if an officer of the law, whether in the army or in the navy or in